meeting with leaders of international companies, and all of them were sitting around this table, and they went around the table how they are bringing back jobs and infrastructure and industry to America after let's call it an 8-year absence. Hell of a week, and he made a tremendous speech as well at this forum. Hell of a week for the president, Russ.
Oh, he's on fire, and listen, I said this last week. Promises made, promises kept. The guy is going before the world stage saying America first. And he was careful not to say America first and only. He said, America first and her friends next. Like, we care about everyone. We want everybody to do well. But obviously, any deals we make, any trade deals, any environmental deals, it's got to be America first. And why would anyone be astonished by this is my question.
Right. America first, but not America alone. That was a great line from his speech.
It was perfect.
And, he actually said, every nation should be doing what we're doing. Every nation should put themselves first. Because when we all put each other first, we all demand the best for ourselves, we always get the best for ourselves. And the best is not a mutually exclusive provision. Economics is not a zero-sum game. There are ways, as Russ Gallo said, in politics for a rising tide to lift all boats. When America is successful and creates more and generates more growth and exports more domestic product, the world benefits from that because they get the cost savings passed on to their consumers, and they're able to lift up their own economy and produce better. It's not this zero-sum game of America's rich and we must redistribute wealth the way that Bernie Sanders and Barack Obama have said for years.
Yeah, and let me explain to our listeners, Gene, because I was just saying, because we often throw the term around, we hear it on TV all the time, the zero-sum game, it's not a zero-sum game. And let me tell people what this actually means. So, the way the left looks at the economy, whether it be macro, worldwide, global economy, or even, the United States' economy, they look at it as like a pie, right? You got a pie, a cherry pie, that kind of pie. You cut slices out of it. And if Gene gets a bigger slice of the pie, then that means my slice by default gets smaller, hence a zero-sum game. Because if someone gets a bigger slice, someone's got to get a smaller slice. And when we talk about like economics is not a zero-sum game, is what we mean is when America's slice of the pie grows, that doesn't necessarily mean someone else's slice of the pie is getting smaller, because when America's slice of the pie grows, we are growing the entire pie. So everyone is getting a bigger slice. And I know that the left can never wrap their heads around this, but the economy, the GDP, the gross domestic product of the world has grown since Jesus walked the earth. So, I mean, the pie grows. It's not a zero-sum game, and just because America does better and gets a bigger slice of the pie doesn't mean we're taking it from someone else necessarily. We're growing everyone's slice.
Excellent explanation, Russ, and that's what President Trump is seeming to explain to everybody now. You want a strong, stable, producing America on the world stage. You don't want America being non-competitive, because when you lose the competition of America, the rest of the world is not driven. The reason why all these nations like Japan in the 80s and some European models in the 90s were growing is because they were catching up to America. They had a goal in mind of beating someone. Once America put on the brakes, or at least came off the gas, that goal kind of stagnated a little bit. Once you're on top, you want to stay on top. You don't want to keep growing and get bigger. That's what Donald Trump is bringing to the table. Donald Trump is bringing an urgency, a hunger back to the economy, and they want people to get in on it. He wants to say, hey, we're open for business. Get in on this while you can. And they're coming back in droves, Russ. The Armageddon of, again, we're going to mention her name, Nancy Pelosi. The hysterics and histrionics are, again, not coming true. By the way, Russ, I don't know about you, but payday for me was on Friday of this past week, and I saw an increase in my check. I don't know about you, but I saw it in mine.
I did as well, and we live in the People's Republic of New York, and we were supposed to be some of the hardest hit. I saw more money in my check. So
if this is Armageddon, bring on Armageddon, pal.
Exactly. And just talking about zero-sum game like this, that was Nancy Pelosi's attitude with the tax cuts. It's a zero-sum game. If we give a tax cut to the upper bracket, then we must be taking the money from somewhere else. We must be taking it from the lower bracket. It's like, it just doesn't make sense. Their math doesn't work out. Their view of history is I want to say, like, twisted. I don't even know what the right word is, Gene. Like, tax cuts have never caused the government to take in less money. And I know that sounds somewhat counterintuitive, but it really isn't. When you cut taxes on individuals and corporations, it spurs economic activity, which creates, guess what? More revenue, more taxpayers, more workers, and more money coming into the treasury. So I don't know where the Democrats get their numbers, their facts. But what's truly scary, Gene, is that not only wondering where these so-called leaders get their numbers, stats, and opinions from, it's the sheep that are in their own party that will follow them, and just believe, yep, Donald Trump's racist. He wants 1.8 non-whites to come into the country on a pathway to citizenship. Like, how is that racist? How is that white supremacy? Please, someone tell me. Fill me in on this.
Yeah, and while you're looking for that, Democrats out there who may stumble upon this, listening to this, enough with the feelings already. I mean, we get it. You're hurt. You're crying. You're upset. You're screaming. You're howling. You're shrieking at the moon. I don't even know what you're doing anymore. We're talking about Armageddon, but with Nancy Pelosi, and building a wall on the backs of minorities, and it's white supremacy, and it's all these extreme things. Let's get real. Donald Trump's getting real in the past month. 2018 has been nothing but the realest president in the room right now.
Right.
And,
the guy is married.
You're heading towards Armageddon because 2018 is going to be Armageddon for Democrats.
Both of his his current wife and his ex-wife are both immigrants from another country. I mean, it's just, it's laughable, some of the accusations that are thrown at this guy, let alone the fact that the FBI is investigating him since the jump of his announcement, to run for office for collusion that has never happened, cannot be proved. I don't know what Mueller's waiting for to come out and give us some information on this, this non-entity of Russian collusion. We have FBI agents who are basically committing treason through text. I mean, it's really. I feel like we're through the looking glass here, Gene. It's just I just want to go get a drink right after the show's over.
I'm hearing you. Well, listen, I'm going to let you take that drink now, because when we come back, we're going to have with us John Preston. He's got the number 23 song on the digital, the DRT Global Airplay Rock Chart, number 119 overall, a real-life rock star with us, folks. We've watched his career since 2014, 2015. We'll have him next. Gene and Russ, Behind Enemy Lines. We'll be back right after these brief words. If you're a long-time listener of the show, or maybe this is your first time listening, you can probably tell that me and the gang here, we like to have our share of fun, whether it's on or off the air. We talk about 2-drink minimum radio and no medication Wednesdays or whatever day it may be. That's why when we found the people at Less Government, More Fun, we knew it was a match made in heaven with this show. Folks, we live in a time where government is out of hand. Our founding fathers did not intend government to be all-consuming in all parts of our lives. That's why we are telling you to go to lessgovmorefun.com, check out the website, check out the swag. What the people want is less government, more fun. Pass it on, make it happen.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save.
Your friend, teacher, boss.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. F-A-S-T. That's F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org, brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Behind Enemy Lines. Back on the air. Gene and Russ, back behind Enemy Lines. Joining us on the line right now, it's a pleasure to welcome back to the show. Russ, gotta be my top 3 favorite guests. Probably number 1. Don't tell Van Hip. But John Preston on the line with us. John, Listen, for those of our audience who don't know, you're about to hear a great interview. How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's going on, Gene? How are you? What's up, Russ?
Welcome aboard, brother.
Things are great. And for those of you who haven't been listening to the show since 2014, John Preston, Marine, veteran, firefighter, who still holds down a full-time job while pursuing a blossoming and growing singing career. And John, we're so happy to report to everybody that your latest song, which you're going to be talking about in a second, has cracked all the charts on the Digital Radio Trends global airplay rankings, and we're so thrilled to talk about it with you. Congratulations on all the success.
Yeah, I'm mind blown. Like, let's be real about it. Like, I have the number 23 rock song in the world right now. You know, I don't even know what to think. Yeah, it's one of those things where I've envisioned this. You and I have talked, before several times, and I've envisioned this and I've seen this because I have a concept of what I can do. I think that we create a platform that's unstoppable. I tell everybody, if Kim Kardashian tweeted the president today, she would have a meeting with the president tomorrow. I want to be that big because we want to make real change in our community. We want to make, real progress. When you start seeing my name on a chart with Ed Sheeran and Pink and Maroon 5 and Metallica and Stone Temple Pilots, then guess what? We're getting there. And this process has been a crazy road. We can go more into that. But it's happening, and it's real today. Today we're on 4 different charts on the DRT. It is real today.
Listen, we've been talking to each other since, like, when Day to Night came out back in 2014, I think it was, right? That was probably the first time we started talking.
Yeah, in 2015, I think was Day to Night, yeah.
Yeah, and to think where you've come now, and let's detail the journey. For those of you who haven't been following and everything, you were, like Russ Gallo, you were a veteran overseas, and it was in Iraq, right?
Yes, yeah, I fought in Iraq in 2004.
Okay, so Russ, you guys were over at the same time, I think.
Correct. Yep, I was there 04, 05. It was rough, especially in the Marine sector. Crazy over there.
Yeah, it had its ups and downs for sure. We moved around a lot, and I was out of Al-Assad Air Base, but during that time there was a lot of motion. We got up and went on a full offensive that we ended up calling Operation Just Kidding, because it's not like it got too crazy. That was when Fallujah was supposed to happen the first time, and we blew it up for a little while, and then we left without ever going in the fight. So it was a good time for me in life, though. That was a place that when I go back in memories, a lot of times I go there with those people and everybody that I served with, and now seeing what we're doing in life afterwards. 17 years later, 15 years later, or whatever, it's crazy. But so I was with 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines. I followed my family. Both my brothers, my father were all Marines, so I had no choice.
and John, when you watch your video, your latest video is terrific, by the way. When you watch the videos and listen to the music, it touches on a lot of hot topics, especially things that, like, I know you think about, and I think about it, and Gene thinks about it as well. PTSD, suicide, the Veterans Administration, survivor's guilt, all these things. For our listeners, I'd like you to talk a little bit about those things and put your music into context for them, because not only are you getting big, but you're staying real to the cause, brother, and I can't thank you enough for all this.
Yeah, and that's always been the goal, and that's what's been cool is I started back to music. I say back because I had signed with the label in 2004. I had a video blow up that I was basically viral in 2004. But we're back, and I've never changed me. I've never changed our mission. I've never changed our concept. If you listen to interviews from 2014, I'm saying the same thing I'm saying today. It's just on a larger platform. And I have been personally affected by it. I've had post-traumatic stress for, the 14 years back in country, and being in the fire service, it's not like that ever goes away because you get more. But I also lost my brother to suicide from post-traumatic stress midway through this journey 2 years ago, just a couple weeks ago, 2 years ago. my older brother took his own life, and that changed my drive, my push, and everything that I was doing, because I went sober. I haven't